Hi everyone, it's Laura Lee. Welcome back to my channel and thank you for joining me for another video. Today we're diving into cash planning for the week. I've got $720 to work with and I'm going to show you how I divide that between my wallet and my high priority binder envelopes. So a little bit about me. I'm 31. I'm a mom of 3 with 1 on the way, due in December. My husband and I are starting from scratch at a zero balance savings here in the 4th quarter of the year. We're focused on power saving for Christmas, building an emergency fund, making extra debt payments, and saving up basically as much as we can all at once. If you've watched any of my other videos, you'll remember that I briefly touched on the fact that my husband and I are a blended family, and we have been dealing with multiple custody battles for the past 5 years, which has added up a lot of extra debt. So stick around to see how we're using cash stuffing, zero-based budgeting, and the snowball method to try to hit our end-of-year goals. So first off is planning my wallet amount for this week. So for me, that looks about to be $320 a week for my family of 5 going on 6. So just before I even get into talking about like the specifics of that number, I just want to say that before I get into any of those numbers, that these numbers are specific to my own family's needs and budget, and I plan these numbers with my husband's weekly needs in mind and giving great consideration to what our family needs during the week. Budgeting is a really personal process, and no one can really give you the exact numbers for any of these amounts because you and your family's needs will always be different from someone else's. I'll do like a different video in the future laying out some of the basic like statistics and the specific and like specifying some of the areas in your own budget that you might want to consider when you're analyzing your income versus your expenses to try to come up with your own individualized financial plan. There are some helpful tools that I can suggest that you might want to consider utilizing, like an Excel spreadsheet and some budgeting trackers, but I'll save that chat for another video for another day. So getting into my wallet, I wanted to talk about what that looks like for me and my family. So in this amount, what I put into my wallet on a weekly basis is spending. And usually my spending, since I'm calculating this for my husband and for me, I put about $60 in this. That gives us a really good buffer for, $30 for him, $30 for me, and that kind of feels reasonable for what our weekly needs usually are. My husband works out of the home, so he's kind of on the go, and he likes to, have some money for, like energy drinks or the occasional fast food run when he's on his own, and I feel like that number for us and that split works pretty well. And then I also have grocery, and so for me and my family, I put about $150 in this a week. And sometimes I can be cutting it a little close, but we do a really good job about making sure that we stay on a meal plan in my family. Not saying that we don't have days where I just don't want to cook, or my husband doesn't want to cook, and we definitely get pizza every now and then, so don't think that we don't. But we try to stick to a meal plan because my 2 oldest children, they go to school and I pack their lunches every day, so we try to kind of stick towards that number. Next up is coffee. My husband and I, we do like coffee. We try to limit it as much as possible. So our goal for coffee for the week is no more than $25. Sometimes we go a little over, and that's okay, but that's our goal, is usually $25. We try to save it for Sundays when my husband and I are together, and we go during like Sunday school after we drop the kids off, and we go before like the main service, and that's kind of like our tradition for Sunday. So we try to save the coffee money for then. Occasionally my daughter and I, she's 2, will go and she doesn't call it coffee, she calls it toffee, which is really cute. But sometimes she and I will go during the week, like maybe like once, just to kind of do something special. So sometimes a little bit of the money will come out of that before then. And then we have dining. This is like you're eating out. It's your, oh, this is a little smudged. Whoops. There we go. I'll have to fix that later. Not a big deal. I'll just use different ones. So this is dining out. This is like eating out. This is like us all going to sit down together as a family, which we try to do at least once a week. So sometimes that'll be like after church, we'll go and we'll do lunch, or Saturday mornings, we like to go for breakfast. That's kind of what this is for, and that's for my whole family. So $65 goes in there a week. And then I have a buffer in the back. So I usually put about $20 in this buffer. That's for like those occasions where like maybe my daughter and I go and get coffee that week, or toffee as she calls it. And when I say coffee, obviously I'm not giving my child caffeine. She gets a little short hot chocolate, and that's about it. But this envelope gets about 20 usually in a week, because we like to have that little buffer so that way we don't have to like go into using our cards or anything. So that's kind of what I put in my wallet, and that's how you get to that amount. So I do $3.50 for grocery, because remember my amount is $150. And then kind of just disperse this into like what works best for me and what works best in my wallet for right now. And then so that's usually what I work with and what works best for me and my family for right now. So moving on to our high priority binder envelopes. So I'm only doing one binder until the end of the year, and that's going to be our high priority envelopes that are going to be in that binder. That binder is this one. So I've kind of gone over this in the beginning. Like this is like my like little cheat sheet so I can stay on track, and it's like right there, and I like to have it in the beginning. With my target numbers for the week, and yeah. So then we get into the envelopes, and we start off with Christmas. And I've explained in the past video that this little number right here that I've stuck over here is like our goal number before the end of the year, or before like Christmas comes. This is our goal number. You know, emergency is like a really high priority for us, because you know, we want to get to that $1,000 as fast as possible so that we have it in the savings account. And then extra debt is a really high priority for us as well. So we're only doing one binder, which is just our priority binder. And then I do have a savings binder for like any extra savings that we can manage for that month, or for that week, or for like the extra money that we have left over still in the wallet that can go into savings challenges or into an extra debt payment. So that's kind of our intention for this one. So in here I do have a $5 savings challenge. I do a $10 savings challenge, a $1 just, you know, for those like extra ones to have somewhere to put them. I haven't started this one yet. I was on Etsy and I saw this one, and I guess it's actually kind of popular for people to play this game. I haven't started it. I probably won't start it in September, because our finances for September are kind of a little bit wonky compared to what we kind of have planned for, because it was just an interesting, it's been an interesting month already. So you know, finances, they go up and down, and they change all the time. And, you know, my husband gets paid weekly, so sometimes that number is different. And so it's keeping up with your finances is a full-time job. So But I'm not planning on starting this one just yet. I might see in October if we can start that one. I do have a 52 circles challenge that I'm going to try to start saving for if I can. So stay tuned for that. I haven't started this one yet. This one and the Star Notes one are from a company called the Millennial Dollar. She makes really cute things on her Etsy and sells them. I think that the new things that she's put out are really cute too. So if you have a little bit of extra money and you want to invest in like a prettier tracker, I definitely recommend these. These are really pretty. So, and then my paper ones, the ones that are like these ones, these just came off of Amazon. They come in a really thick pack. So I really appreciated that it comes with multiple of them too. So it was pretty cost effective to get these ones. Eventually I'd like to, you know, upgrade to, you know, prettier versions or like a monthly version of these that are a little bit more, you know, that I can reuse. But for now, the paper ones are going to work just fine for me. I'll put that to the side. Okay, so going into those high priority envelope amounts. So with the way that our income works in our family, it's generally about like this number. And this number is after, you know, things like taxes, and it's after things like tithes, and so this is that number that comes after those things. Okay, so like I said, September has kind of been a little bit of an interesting month for us. So I've had to modify my September budget a little bit because we are missing like a portion of money that usually comes in. It just had to be reallocated to something else that was more important for the month. So given that, I made a totally like little separate plan for the month, and I just wrote it on a piece of paper. So usually like I showed you in this binder with this little mini one, that's usually the numbers that I would try to like hit, like right here. Those are like my planned ones. But for September, what I've had to do is I've had to approximate, you know, the weekly amount that we would normally be getting. And this is after, remember, like those taxes and those things that have to get taken out first. So my wallet amount is going to stay the same no matter what, because that's our weekly needs. So that's the most important thing. Everything else can kind of get adjusted, but our weekly amount has to stay the same. So what I've done is I have subtracted the wallet amount from the planned modified weekly amount that we're going to work with, and it gave me $400. So from that 400, I've dispersed it into these envelopes. So on the left-hand side is the modified version of those numbers, and on the right side, I've put what I had my targeted numbers were for those. So that way, at the end of the week, I can try to see if from the wallet we have enough to cover the difference to meet those target numbers, those weekly target numbers. So I wrote that down here. This is what we're working with. This is what we normally would work with. And then this is the difference. So I kind of wrote myself a little note over here, and I said, you know, that our goal is to save $160 from this amount. We might not get there, and that's fine too, because these things can be adjusted. And, you know, we will be using like a snowball method. So like when one of these things ends, like my husband's birthday, that will get rolled over into my birthday fund. Or, you know, when we have my children's grandfather's birthday, will end, and then that number will get rolled into the next thing. So that's kind of how the snowball method works. You kind of just go on to the next priority. And for us, priority is date and date. So, because we're trying to make each of these events from now to the end of the year work within what we are budgeting for. So that's my plan for September. This number will change a little bit because given my husband's different hours that he works, it just kind of goes up and down. But we don't plan for our bills to be cash stuffed. That just doesn't really work well with what we need in our family. Because a lot of it just comes out of, our main account anyways. So we have separate accounts for different things, and we have an account set up just for, funds being allocated for cash stuffing. So that's just what works best for our family. So that being said, so Christmas is going to get $50. So we are starting with $720. We're going to subtract $320 from that. I'm not sure why it's doing that. Oh, it's got everything there. So that'll give us that $400 that we're talking about. Remember in that piece of paper how it said $400, and that's what we were working with? Okay, so that's perfect start. So Christmas is getting $50, so subtract $50. And then emergency is going to get $100, because remember, Christmas, emergency, and debt payment are our top 3 priorities for until the end of the year. So we're going to subtract $100 from that. And then our debt payment is going to be $50. And then from there, we're going to go into the end of the things that end incrementally. So first is my husband's birthday, and that is going to get $50 this week. My children's grandfather's birthday is going to get $20. So I have goals for these birthdays. I've already budgeted for what I want them to be. So I'm kind of trying to meet these goals. I'm trying to meet that specific number that I'm planning for, so that way I have enough to buy the things that I want to for them, and to be able to treat them as much as we can financially responsibly. So, and then my son has a birthday in October, so we're saving for that. So he's gonna get $10 for right now. And then gifts, because we have a lot of family members that have birthdays in the last quarter of the year. So I try to put some into this to be able to kind of give that buffer, so we don't have to go into anything else, to be able to get our family members or our friends, or our children's friends little gifts. So I'm going to put 10 in that. I haven't been subtracting, but that's okay. So we're going to subtract 50 for my husband's birthday. We're going to subtract 20 for my children's grandfather's birthday. We're going to subtract 10 for my son's birthday, 10 for gifts. Okay, and next is Sam's. So like I said, we are a bigger family, so there's 5 of us and then another on the way. So buying things in bulk just really makes sense for our family, especially since everyone packs their lunch to go. My youngest and I eat at home, and it just makes sense for the way that we meal plan. So that gets $30 a week. And that number hasn't changed. So that's another number that I'm not really super flexible on, because that's something that we need. Halloween is coming up really soon, so that's going to get $20. And I try to cut costs wherever I can when it comes to Halloween, because that's one of those expenses if you have children, those costumes and those accessories, they can get really expensive. So trying to make sure that we can, give the children what they want, but also kind of being reasonable about it. It's also really good because we are trying to teach our older two how to be financially responsible, and this is a really good way of showing them, okay, well, this is your budget, this is what you have to work with. Now, find things that are within that budget. Our oldest is really excited about cash planning. He he definitely has a lot of interest in it. But anyways, Thanksgiving, we are hosting Thanksgiving this year, so that's kind of a bigger priority than it would usually be. With me being pregnant and being due in the beginning of December, traveling is kind of not in the cards for us. So I'm planning for that. So 10 is going to go into that one. I don't remember where I left off with my subtraction, but that's okay. Okay, and then we have our baby shower in October as well that we're planning for. And that's kind of like a bigger event for us because we have a lot of people coming. So we want to make sure that we have enough money for enough food and decorations and, stuff like that. So we are actually putting 50 towards that this time. Okay, so I'm going to just cancel that out. So I'm going to start from the beginning just to make sure that my math is right. So 720 minus 320 minus 50 minus 100 minus 50 minus 50 minus 20 minus 10 minus another 10 minus 30 minus 20 minus 10 minus 50. Perfect. So that got us to 0. So all the math is correct. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put tallies next to which denominations I want in each of those. So the goal, oops, put that there. The goal is to have as few bills in these envelopes as possible because you don't want them to get too full or too big because then it can kind of be difficult with closing the binder or stuff like that. So Christmas is a 50, so we're going to put 1 here. Emergency is 100, so I'm going to put a 100 right here. Debt payments 50. My husband's birthday 50. My children's grandfather is 20. Put 1 there. My son's birthday is 10. Gifts is 10. Sam's is 30, so we're going to do a 20 and a 10. And Halloween is a 20, so we're going to put 1 there. Thanksgiving is a 10. And then the baby shower is a 50, so I'm going to do a $50 bill there. So now that we have all of these things all tallied up, what we're going to do is we are going to calculate in the bottom here. So this has quantities of each bill. So that's the number of your tallies down here. So like for an example, the 100 right here, there's only 1 in this whole row. So you're going to put a 1 right here because that's the number of bills of this denomination that you need. So like another example for 50, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 7 in that one. And then we're going to move on to the 20s. So that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 20s. And then we're going to do the 10s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 5s only has 1. And the 1s have 5. Okay. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take your calculator. And you're going to check to make sure that this is exactly what you need to be. So 100 is 100. 750, so you do 7 times 50 is 350. And then you do 20 times 10. So 20 times 10 is 200. And then you do 6 times 10 is 60. And then 1 5 is just $5. And then 5 1s is also $5. So once you get to that number, you're going to add all of these together, and your goal is to make sure that all of these numbers down here equal this number up here. So we're going to do that 100 plus 350 plus 200 plus 60 plus 5 equals 720. So now that those match, now that we know that our math is correct, what I like to do is I like to, because I don't want to take this whole sheet in, what I like to do is I like to write down the amounts that I need to tell the people at the bank. So let me get a card. Okay. So you're going to write down your denominations. 100s, 50s, 20s, 10s, 5s, and 1s. And then you're going to put how many of each you need. So I need 1, 7, 10, 6, 1, and 5. So then I'm going to put what that number equals. So this is 100. This is 350, 200, 60, 5, and 5. And all of that is going to equal 720. So I like to, I also have in this little box down here, like a place to put my notes. So sometimes like what I'll do is if I know that I've had to change my plan a little bit, or like if there's something like really important about like this week's planning that I want to write down, I'll usually jot down a little note here. And I did make this tracker myself, so if you like it, let me know in the comments, and I will try to figure out how to get that to you, or to share that. I'm still kind of trying to figure that out. I am in production with trying to figure out how to bundle these things together. So I've done this one, and then I've also made a sinking funds tracker. So I'm still kind of working on these, but if you like this style and you like the way that this is set up, just let me know in the comments and I'll see if there's any generation of interest in these. So that's all for this week's cash planning. Thank you again for joining me. If you like this content, please like and subscribe so I can reach other people who might find value in the information I have to share. And stay tuned for my very first cash stuffing video coming soon. Bye guys.